In 1991, Eurovision Song Contest entered its 36th edition. At this point in the contest's history, it had largely remained in a static state for over a decade. One Saturday night final, 12 points awarded by a jury, and a showcase of dramatic ballads and caricatures of contemporary pop music, acting as a Western European circle jerk against the big, meanie communists in the East. But those days were coming to an end. The Berlin Wall had fallen, the Warsaw Pact disbanded, and even the Soviet Union was on its last legs. With a wide array of countries looking to make their debut, Eurovision remained desperate to keep the contest as it was, imposing a limit of 22 countries in 1987, which temporarily prevented Malta from returning, though in 1991 the Netherlands was kind enough to give Malta their spot. In 1989, the contest changed its tiebreaker rules, replacing the never-used sing-off procedure with a countback of the sets of points. That will become important later. The Eurovision Song Contest 1991 was hosted in Italy, following the victory of Insieme 1992 the previous year, a dramatic and inspiring ballad themed around the boring bureaucracy of establishing the European Union, which was set to come into fruition 2 years later. The song was performed by Toto Cutugno, who would return that year as the host. We will get to him. Oh boy, will we get to him. The competition was originally meant to be hosted in Sanremo, home of the Sanremo Music Festival, a direct inspiration for the Eurovision Song Contest, but this was changed to Rome, allegedly due to concerns about hosting the contest so close to France, an active participant in the Gulf War, as well as the civil unrest in neighbouring Yugoslavia. Just another example of Eurovision shielding itself from all the rapid changes on the continent. Italy already had a poor track record with hosting the contest. Italy had only won once before, and the contest was held in Naples in 1965. The production was so sloppy that the Norwegians did a sketch making fun of it.
And now I am Portugal.
Right from the start, it's clear that we are not in for an ordinary edition of Eurovision Song Contest. The intro plays, an electronic organ rendition of Te Deum, with a flashy CGI logo of the Council of Europe stars flying over flags of Europe, including the Soviet Union for some reason. The screen goes black for 7 seconds, a small portion of the animation replays, then it cuts to an 11-year-old's PowerPoint presentation. Terrifying stuff. This will become a recurring problem, as the tech team routinely fumbled at their job throughout the live transmission. They cut to transitions while the hosts were still talking, and don't get me started on the voting sequence. But let's cut to the chase. It wouldn't be the Eurovision Song Contest without the songs, so let's see what the damage is this time around. They look like they're cosplaying as the keyboard and mouse adapters from the 2000s. Iceland was represented by Stefan and Nafi with the song Nina. It finished in 15th place with votes from 4 countries, but according to legendary Eurovision archivist Euroviking, the song is still very popular in Iceland. Stefan Hilmarsson previously represented Iceland in 1988 as the lead singer of Beethoven, with the fairground favourite, Socrates. He is best known for being the lead singer of Salin Hans Jonsmins, a popular rock band in his home country, with a career spanning 30 years. The guy with the stupid headband is Eyjolfur Kristjansson. He also had a decades-long singing career in Iceland, though not much of note other than this tacky Icelandic cover of Slade's Merry Xmas Everybody. I'm hanging something on the wall, and it's not a stocking. Malta returned to Eurovision, having last taken part in 1975. English is one of their official languages, and they use this to their advantage, sending a string of saccharine songs about love. Paul and Georgina were 2 singers in their early 30s, and both have made the rounds at local song festivals and TV competitions, but Eurovision was their exposure to a big audience. They finished in 6th place, starting Malta's chain of 8 consecutive top 10 finishes, destroying the integrity of Eurovision juries in the process. Look it up. Eurovision 1991 was the height of either of their careers. Georgina tried to represent Malta again in 2004, and also worked in the Maltese theatre scene for a while. Paul was the composer for the Maltese entry in 2011, but it didn't make the grand final. Greece was represented by Sofia Vossou. Sofia has had a respectable career in the Greek music scene, and, in my humble opinion, the strongest singer of Eurovision 1991, though there is a lot of competition for that title. Ianixi finished in 13th place, though the song became very popular in her home country. Many Greek people don't even know that it's a Eurovision song. But the song is known among Eurovision fans for one very wrong reason. The conductor, Haris Andreadis, said he had just come on stage before the live performance and was horrified to find that the young saxophone player from the rehearsals had been replaced by a much older man, and later learned that production had fired him after he asked for more money. The result? There is a penthouse in hell for this man. Sandra Studer represented Switzerland, credited as Sandra Simo, her Spanish mother's maiden name. 22 years old at the time, she had studied music theory in university, and in 1989 she featured as a vocalist on the first ever single released by DJ Bobo, The Vampires Are Alive Guy, Another Time. Though a German speaker, her Eurovision performance was in Italian, and she finished in 5th place with 118 points. Despite her high result, she chose not to continue her singing career and switched lanes into TV presenting. She remained in the Eurovision circuit, providing Switzerland's German language commentary for many years, and reaped the benefit when she was chosen to host the contest in Basel in 2025. Was she any good? I don't know. I didn't watch it. It's 1989. The Austrian Eurovision delegation has run Gary Lux into the ground and needs a new pretty boy to be their Eurovision face, and they find it in 19-year-old Thomas Vossner. Despite dressing like a page boy at a commitment ceremony, he scored Austria their first top 5 finish in over a decade, and the song topped the Austrian charts a week later. Thomas had a couple more hits in his country, Wenn noch die Sonne scheint, number 13, and Miles Away, number 5. But the Austrian broadcaster didn't learn their lesson, and brought him back to Eurovision 2 years later with Venedig im Regen. With his grown-out mullet, sparkly purple jacket and jumpsuit, it's fair to say that he looked an absolute twat. But he clearly thinks he's hot stuff and keeps mugging the camera with cocky head tilts. He finished in last place with 0 points, and with it his career as a domestic heartthrob soon came to an end. At least Sam Ryder got some wear out of his costume. Sarah Bray, real name Monique Vassant, represented Luxembourg with un baiser volé, meaning a stolen kiss, though baiser is also the French verb for to fuck. Lady Marmalade lied to you. A native to Luxembourg, she was a bank clerk who entered the music industry when she was chosen to be the lead singer of Skara Brae, a Luxembourgian rock band. They released an album called New Blue, which I can't imagine was very popular because I can't find any recordings online, and YouTube progressively insists that I mean Skara Brae spelled with an E instead of a Y. But during her time with the band, the lead guitarist, Patrick Hibbert, composed a song for her, for which she co-wrote the lyrics, and it was internally selected to represent Luxembourg in Eurovision. Get it? Skara Brae, Sarah Brae. You get it. A sweet ballad about the beauty of kissing someone non-consensually, it finished in 14th place with 29 points. Monique left Scarabre shortly after, and she never released music again. Apparently, she is now a beautician. Turkey sent Can, Izel, and Reyhan, a trio made up of 2 girls and 1 boy, though it's clear from the postcard that he clearly prefers one of these lovely ladies more than the other. Surf in Istanbul, am I right? These Seaside Girls and Boy finished in 12th place, which was one of Turkey's better positions in Eurovision up to that point, back before they were guaranteed 60 points from diaspora each year. These 3 were fresh meat in the Turkish music industry. Izel went on to be highly successful, selling over 2 million albums throughout the 90s and 2000s. Reyhan also had some success. A few of her hits have racked up millions of views on YouTube, becoming a safe haven for Turkish millennials to circle jerk about how much they miss their childhood and everything sucks now and smartphone bad. Can took a bit of a different path. In the same year, he released an album with 62-year-old Ayzo Gurul. He finished his studies and worked in the pharmaceutical industry for 15 years. Not doing the actually important sciencey stuff, but rather offering training for executives and marketers. I believe that falls into the goon category of bullshit jobs. He has made a return to music in recent years, but his number of solo hits is equal to the hairs on his head. Kim Jackson represented Ireland. She sang backup for Liam Riley the year before, and in her solo venture she finished in 11th place with 47 points. She looked pretty and sang as such, but was swiftly followed by 3 consecutive Irish victories, and so she sits in the dustbin of our Eurovision history. Portugal was never one of the shining stars of Eurovision, but they'd had a particularly poor run in the 80s, not getting a single top 10 finish over a span of 10 years. But new girl Dulce Ponch was determined to turn things around for her country, and she finished 8th, which apparently was good enough for the Portuguese because her career exploded after her participation. She became an ambassador of culture, not just in her native Portugal, but around the world, collaborating with the likes of Ennio Morricone and Andrea Bocelli. The comment section of her most well-known song, a cover of Canção do Mar, is full of people worldwide declaring their love and deep connection with Portugal, and, well, it's an achievement when a song from the 90s can elicit any reaction other than who's still listening in September 2042. Jonas Fonsen represented Denmark. A relatively new face on the Danish small screen, he had already made a career for himself as a theatre actor and morning TV host. His Eurovision contribution finished with 8 points, with Denmark only being bailed out by their Scandinavian neighbours. Users of the now defunct website, Eurosong.net, voted it the 9th worst Eurovision song of the 90s. Jonas continued his steady stream of TV presenting throughout the 90s, and in the 2000s he started his own gift business. In 2012, he was found dead in his bedroom with a lit barbecue and a note. He was 51 years old. Just for Fun was a Norwegian supergroup, originally put together to sing at a restaurant in the summer of 1990. The project lasted longer than originally planned, and somehow they ended up in Eurovision the following year. They finished 17th and split up shortly after. Hanne Krogh appeared in Eurovision for the 3rd and final time, previously scoring Norway's first victory in 1985 as part of Bobby Socks. She's had a long and prolific career in her home country. Most of her top songs on Spotify come from a nursery rhyme album she released in 1995. Jan Groth was a reasonably popular Christian rock singer in the 80s, and throughout his life he was a devout member of the Pentecostal movement. He died in 2014 after a battle with cancer. 20-year-old Marianne Antonsen was fresh meat in the Norwegian music scene. She is best known for singing Circle of Life in the Norwegian dub of The Lion King. She pursued a music career throughout the 90s and 2000s, but it didn't really go anywhere. She is now the manager of a clothes store. Erik Hauksson is a singer from Iceland. He had previously represented his home country on their debut in 1986, and represented Iceland again in 2007, one of the many attempts that year to dick ride off of Lordi's success. In 2025, he signed an open letter calling for Israel to be banned from the Eurovision Song Contest. Kaija Karkinen represented Finland with Hulla Ö, a truly haunting song and melody, further enhanced by it finishing in 20th place with 6 points. I will forever condemn Eurovision's official YouTube channel for not including this in their Halloween mix. Kaija gained further prominence in her home country by releasing music with her husband, Ile Kallio. They had 7 top 20 albums in the Finnish charts. In 2025, Kaija signed the open letter calling for Israel to be banned from the Eurovision Song Contest. Germany's first Eurovision entry as a united country finished with 10 points and was voted the second worst Eurovision song of the 90s. The likely reasons for this: the boring melody, the poorly blended vocals, and the deafening brass section. Some of the members of Atlantis 2000 may have been key players in the German music industry. Some may have faded into obscurity. Frankly, I do not give a shit. The Dutch language has always been a goldmine for misheard lyrics. Belgium was represented by rock band Clouseau. They were fronted by brothers Chris and Koen Wouters, kitted out in clothes picked out by their mum. They finished 16th with 23 points. The band had a long and successful career in the Netherlands and Dutch-speaking Belgium, and their singles consistently feature on the Flemish charts to this day. Hailing from Barcelona, Sergio Dalma was relatively new to the Spanish music scene. His first album, released in 1989, failed to chart, but his record label didn't give up and flogged him to the Spanish broadcaster 2 years later. His Eurovision performance changed everything. He finished in 4th place, and his entry, Bailar Pegados, was the first track on his second album released in August, which peaked at number 3. His 1992 album, Adivina, topped the charts, and he would go on to have 6 more number 1 albums in Spain over the next 2 decades.
Message to your heart, it's alright. Say a little prayer and sleep tonight. Oh, tomorrow you'll still be in paradise.
A Message to Your Heart was Britain's offering that year, a rather cheery song about the topic of world hunger. It talked down to the people of the global north, telling them that they're greedy and live in paradise and have no real problems. It was essentially the musical version of telling your kids to eat their stupid broccoli because there's starving kids in Africa. The woman of the hour was Samantha Janus, later Samantha Womack of EastEnders fame. She certainly gave a performance, only occasionally going out of tune whenever she hit the high notes. It finished in 10th place, a poor showing for the UK at the time, and Sam has called her Eurovision experience traumatizing. She was only 18 and not used to the mafia syndicate known as the British press, and she believed her mediocre result would end her career. Elena Patroclou represented Cyprus with SOS, which came in 9th place. The song was about the destruction on Earth caused by pollution, and she doesn't know what to do anymore. Over 30 years later, and it's only gotten worse. Elena largely slipped under the radar after Eurovision, releasing only one album in 1998. She resurfaced in 2015 to be a judge in the Cypriot national selection, and during COVID she joined 21 other Cypriot artists to make yet another Zoom charity single. The oldest participant that year at 51, Peppino di Capri is one of Italy's terminally Sanremo artists, taking part in the festival 15 times over the span of 40 years. His Eurovision entry was in Neapolitan and finished in 7th place. Peppino is now 86 years old and still performing, most recently spotted on stage at a festival on his native Capri on August 4th. But you know what this contest has been missing? Some good old Eurovision camp. Godsend. This was Socialist Yugoslavia's final Eurovision entry, just 2 months before Slovenia became the first republic to secede from the Federation. But the cracks were already plentiful at that point in time. The national selection took place in March. Yugoslavia was riding high on a string of successful results from Croatian acts. Novi Fosili, 4th. Srebrna Krila, 6th. Riva, 1st. And Taichi, 7th. But now the Serbians were determined to assert themselves as the alpha bitches of the Socialist Republic. There were 24 members of the jury, 3 for each of the 6 Yugoslav republics, and 3 more each for Kosovo and Vojvodina, autonomous provinces of Serbia. Baby doll, real name Dragana Šarić, won the selection and the opportunity to represent her country by a margin of 2 points. She received points from every judge in Serbia, Montenegro, Kosovo, and Vojvodina, but not a single point from Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, or the one and only Macedonia. In Rome, Yugoslavia finished in 21st place, receiving only 1 point from Malta. Everything about this performance is perfection. The mediocre vocals, the ridiculous choreography, the goofy-ass carnival outfit and Barbie hair. It will forever be Yugoslavia's Roman Empire moment. Now that all the losers are out of the way, it's time to take a look at Eurovision 1991's podium finishers. Let's start with the 3rd place. Nope. Nope. No. 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 I have already made fun of Can by Duodats on this channel twice before. It is a sick, morally depraved bag of shite that dares to masquerade as music. I am not talking about it again. Instead, here's a study from 1990 accusing Palestine of using human shields. The PLO practice of hiding behind civilians has produced severe tests for the IDF, Israeli Defense Force. Have Israeli soldiers abandoned their moral obligations in war during the time of Intifada? The moral code of the purity of arms, Tochad Chanashek, has served as an absolute standard for the Israeli army since the creation of Israel. The author emphasizes that though televised beatings of Palestinian women and children have caused an outcry, it would be unrealistic to hold Israeli soldiers to the same moral standards given the political situation. Hence, the IDF cannot be criticized for having committed some immoral acts during the unique circumstances of the Intifada. The Israeli Defense Force has not abandoned its Tochad Chanashek and has maintained its commitment to moral values in national and international behavior. Televised beatings of children! The tiebreaker rule I mentioned earlier came in handy. For the 2nd time in Eurovision's history, the result was a draw. Both France and Sweden received 146 points from the international juries. The victory would be given to the song that received the most sets of 12, but both entries had received 4 sets of 12 each. So the victory would go out to the song that received more sets of 10, and one song received more sets than the other.
C'est le dernier qui a parlé, qui a raison. Dans ta maison, c'est celle qui m'a donné un nom, qui a raison.
France finished in second place with Le Dernier qui a parlé by Amina and Abu. Amina was born in Tunisia to a French father and Tunisian mother, and she moved to France at the age of 12. Amina's Eurovision entry was a moderately paced song composed by Wassis Diop, a Senegalese musician. Amina did her entire performance barefoot, and considering how disorganised the rest of the production was, I don't think floor hygiene was at the top of their priorities. During the voting, France received 12 points from Israel, and Amina had a wholesome moment when she went to hug the members of Duo Dats. You know they got into a sterilisation chamber as soon as the camera stopped rolling. France was 12 points behind Sweden before the last voter, Italy, and needed top points to stay in the running. Italy delivered, and there was a minute of confusion before Frank Neff revealed that Sweden was the winner, and why. Amina was salty about her loss for years after, and had this to say in a Eurovision documentary from 2000.
For me it was rubbish anyway, and it was funny for me, but not really, I have no interest.
But she seemed to come around. In 2010, she presented the votes for the French jury at Sweden's national selection, and she also attempted to represent Sweden a couple of years later, but her entry was rejected. Amina has long incorporated her Tunisian heritage into her music. She did an interview with the LA Times where she said that Arabic was synonymous with not being free, and asserted that she was not like other Arab girls. A moment of silence for the WatchMojo employee who thought that this was the actual entry. Corolla represented Sweden in Eurovision for the second time, previously taking part in 1983. Sweden was struggling in Eurovision, following the reintroduction of the language rule in 1977. But 16-year-old Corolla took to Germany's hideous warehouse stage, belted her heart out, and took home third place, kick-starting Sweden's golden age at Eurovision, which continues over 40 years later. Corolla almost didn't make it to Eurovision on time. She had to run from an important business meeting and come on stage in her office garb. But she didn't let that stop her from popping off into her high-energy dance routine. She performed the opening act at Eurovision the following year in Malmo, and during the voting, she accidentally broke her chair. Corolla represented Sweden again in 2006, finishing in 5th place. She made cameos when Sweden hosted in 2013 and 2016, and performed Waterloo with Charlotte Pirelli and Conchita Wurst at the interval of the 2024 final. Shortly after the final, she made an Instagram post condemning people who booed Israel during the live shows. She used Eurovision's slogan, United by Music, as a convenient deflection against legitimate criticism of the EBU for continuing to endorse Israel's participation and actively censoring the tiniest tokens of support for Palestine. But she also asserted that this slogan magically doesn't apply to Russia because they did not meet the EBU's participation requirements. This is a complete lie. Russia was not banned from Eurovision for breaking any specific rules. They were banned because 9 other broadcasters pressured the EBU into doing so. On the contrary, Corolla had no problem attacking Irish representative Bambi Thug because she thought their performance was a satanic ritual. Corolla is more offended by something that reminds her of a bad guy from ancient mythology than she is by propaganda promoting the bombing of babies. Don't be like Corolla. And that was all the entries of Eurovision 1991. Now there's nothing left to talk about. Eurovision 1991 was hosted by the 2 previous Italian winners, Giola Cinquetti and Toto Cutugno. Neither of them could speak English or French and presented the entire show in Italian. They are widely considered the worst hosts in Eurovision history. Toto, you really should have peed before going on stage.
amori senza confini.
I've seen beds of nails that looked less uncomfortable than Giola.
Allora,
ho capito.
ho cantato io,
Me
ma devi
l'aspettavo.
cantare anche tu perché...
Such professional hosts, constantly talking over each other.
Non ho l'età, non ho l'età.
Toto, shut up.
E canta Sofia Vossu.
Have a glass of water. You're looking thirsty.
C'è stato un problema tecnico per Corolla. Io vorrei chiedere a Monsieur Neuf se la canzone deve essere o no rieseguita. Monsieur Neuf, vous êtes là?
We're not even an hour in, and Frank Neff is already sick of your crap.
Il titolo è Uluioe. Right?
Was he expecting the one Finnish person in the audience to help him out?
Intanto vediamo la cartolina dei Clouseau.
You couldn't hide your boredom for 2 more seconds.
Pensate che Sergio, vieni qua. L'abbiamo battezzato qui all'Eurofestival il piccolo Totino.
This is giving young Michael Scott.
E
Siamo alla fine, Toto.
siamo arrivati all'ultimo paese in gara.
E chi è?
L'Italia.
Che
Siamo in
emozione!
due. Siamo in due perché siamo molto emozionati nel presentare il personaggio che amiamo tutti da tanti anni.
Dovremmo misurare le parole, ma è difficile.
Sì, no, dobbiamo...
Giola, you can only speak when Toto gets tired.
Vediamo la cartolina.
Cartolina di Peppino.
Come on, tech team. You've got these 2 clowns telling you how to do your job.
Europea del music hall è un trasformista, un fantasista.
I felt sandpaper that was smoother than Toto.
La tua maniera?
Vieni Arturo,
I don't know where Toto's hand is, and I don't want to.
Salutare l'Europa.
nelle tue lingue.
Bene.
Dai.
So, what we can say, thank you very much and good night, a big goodbye to all the friends of English-speaking countries and English understanding because I don't speak Swedish or Norwegian. Merci beaucoup à tous les amis français de cette merveilleuse nuit étoilée, bien sûr, de stars de la chanson. Thank you, j'ai déjà detto.
Spagnolo.
Hasta la vista, amigos. Cerea, se vedemo. Arrivederci.
Arturo
Grazie a tutti.
Bracchetti.
Arturo.
Vai, Arturo.
Toto is not happy that he got out-hosted by the interval act.
Cyprus, 2 points.
Si sente poco. Cyprus 2 points.
You want me to get started on the voting sequence? I'll get started on the voting sequence.
Suède, 12 points.
Grèce 12 points.
Non, pardon.
Non era la Grecia, la
La
Svezia.
Suède. Sì, allora, la Svezia, sì, la Suède è 12 points.
Israel, 8 points.
Israel 7 points.
Israël,
Royaume-Uni, 5 points.
Royaume-Uni è 5 points.
United Kingdom, 5 or 4.
Norvège, 1 point.
Eh?
Luxembourg,
Tranquillo.
1 point.
Portugal.
Luxembourg,
Luxembourg 1 point.
Le Luxembourg, vous pouvez commencer.
1 point.
Royaume-Uni è 1 point.
United Kingdom, 1 point. Yes.
Norway, 1 point.
Non si sente niente.
Norvège,
Norway.
1 point.
Allora,
Greece, 1 point.
Swiss 1 point.
Greece,
And Sweden,
comunque ascoltiamo.
1 point.
Spain 1 point.
Spain.
Spain, 1
Grèce, 2 points.
Greece.
Helsinki.
No, Belgio.
No,
Belgio.
Belgio, Bruxelles.
Vai con...
Eurovision came and went. 1991 continued on. Republics seceded from Yugoslavia. By the end of the year, the Soviet Union was finished. The EB was faced with even more countries who wished to join, and struggled on how to incorporate them into a contest that wasn't designed with open doors. Love, love, peace, peace. So, I recently came across a YouTuber called Bubblegun, who makes YouTube videos about British pop music of the past. But he talks about it as if he's narrating a true crime documentary. It's the funniest YouTube channel I've come across in a long time, and I knew I had to steal his style before he blew up. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, right? Thank you for watching, please like and subscribe, and I'll leave you with a message from my favourite German band.